This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. We have another Thursday, a wonderful Thursday. Okay, we are going on 97.7 KCYP, The City, out of McAllen, Texas. We're here at the McAllen Creative Incubator. Loving being here, loving having you all come to visit. If you're on already, great. If not, man, we'll be waiting to see you. And if you're not even then, because you just don't have the schedule to watch live, anytime is a good time, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for tuning in. You know, we often talk about how our podcast here is a faith in God. In fact, the Bitcoin Otter Private Membership Association is a faith in God membership association, private membership association. Yeah, you guys are welcome if you'd like to join, but it is private and it means a lot. But where I'm going with this is we have from time to time a rash, if you will. And this rash is nothing about our skin, even though I'm scratching, as you noticed. That was quite ironic. Anyway, this is not a rash physically. This is a rash of problems, and it's deeper than the physical. It is on the spiritual level. We've had this discussion before, and I'm definitely not afraid. In fact, I revel in it because I know who runs the spiritual world. Now, there are malefactors running through the spiritual world, but as with everything else in this great universe, it has a king. It has a ruler. And I personally have decided that I'm going to let all of my chips sit in the realm of, in the hands of, on the shoulders of Jesus Christ. And what I'm talking about today is the technical difficulty that pops up every now and again. Joe had mentioned it to me as soon as I came into the studio. And he was saying, hey, it happened again, brother. And I was understanding because, as he mentioned, it doesn't happen on the other shows. Not to say that my show is better than anybody else's show. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. We touch on things in this show during the course of this program, if you will, that directly manifest as a hot button for one or many reasons. But the specific reason I'm speaking of right now is the spiritual realm. This spiritual realm undergirds everything in the physical. The physical is just a spiritual manifestation, a spiritual, how would you say, icon or avatar, perhaps. So within the spiritual metaverse, the matrix, if you will, at times, the creator of this universe has allowed things to erupt into a physical form. It is a lower, less vibrational frequency than the spiritual frequency. However, you have a spirit, you have a soul. I have a spirit, I have a soul. And in fact, I would rather say, and it is more accurate to say, that you don't have a soul. You don't have a spirit. You are a soul, a spirit that has a body. Okay? And when we're dealing with things as mundane, perhaps to most, as technical difficulties, we have to remember that everything has a frequency. All creation, in fact, in our bodies, we operate on multiple frequencies. Our cells each have a frequency of optimal service to our bodies. Now, when these frequencies are messed with, and they can be from the spiritual realm, we have difficulty. We have technical difficulty. Well, as Joe has said, and I'm, basically informing you here, we don't have difficulties in this station with other shows, right? So what do we have? We have the internet connection, we have the Wi-Fi, we have things like that, and our, devices, the ability of our devices to pick these things up. So there are a few different points of failure if an enemy, the enemy, if you will, would like to come against us. So what I'm trying to get across is I and Joe today, Joe initiated the prayer. We have most definitely taken it to the spiritual realm, the creations, the creatures that are working against us. Now, Joe and I are wise enough, maybe not even wise enough. We've been given a block of faith, and we're going to move on that faith. And that faith tells us that we can't do this alone. We are not strong enough. We are so small. We are specks in the spiritual realm. We are literally nearly, if not completely, powerless without the God of all gods, the King of all kings. And he manifested on this earth as a person named Jesus. And when Jesus manifested onto this earth, he gave us, if we are willing, power. With this power, Joe and I have come against whatever forces may have come against our efforts here. And our efforts, we ask God to bless, and that it might come across via the various waves of light, internet, radio, whatever it is, as a blessing to you also. Because there is little more that pleases God than us trying or exerting effort in his will to expand his kingdom. We're coming on the 4th of July, ladies and gents, and we are celebrating our independence from England. What is England? It's just another nation, okay? It's just another group of people that want power over everything. London wants and has, for now, the almost totalitarian power over financial business in the Western civilization, the Western world. And it bleeds over very far into the Eastern world. I say all this to say, we come against that not in our name, but in the name of the person who wants freedom for you, freedom for me, freedom for us. And that is why we do what we do. I didn't wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm gonna create a platform for myself. I didn't wake up one day and say, I need a platform to announce my whatever, my chutzpah, my greatness, my whatever. No, and no. I don't want any of that because I am immaterial in this. It is the mission that I have undergone, I have begun to complete, which is my destiny. Do whatever it is that God wants me to do on this earth. Do I make mistakes? I absolutely do. Do I fail? Every single day. Ingloriously do I fail every single day. But what I would like to do is give a platform to freedom. And there is no one else in this universe that cares more about freedom than Jesus Christ. He freed all of us. All we have to do is accept that gift. So all that to say, and I don't mean to bore anyone, all that to say that when it comes to our mission here, it always will be centered upon the will of God. So what I would like to do as a kind of a wrap up to this intro is I would like to, very much like to, read a little verse here. So it's a little verse, Zechariah 14:9. And this is what it says. And this is what we declare is true. The Lord will be king over the whole earth. On that day, there will be one Lord, and his name, the only name. So we have chosen, Joe and I, and hopefully you have also, but you are you, and I am not your judge. We have chosen to serve this Lord, this ruler, this creator of earth, heaven and earth. So we are on, literally, we are online. We are literally coming to within the scope of your consciousness based on no other power than his. Because in our power, we can do nothing. But with him, all things are possible. Thank you for listening to that. Now, one of the things I'd also like to share today is that we have great opportunities in front of us. And when I say we have great opportunities, yes, it can always be wrapped up into that spiritual realm that I was speaking of, but I'm going to focus on the reality of opportunity because it has different scope. It has different range. It has a different category for many of the things in our life. So I just spoke about the spiritual freedom, the opportunity to go to heaven after we die. What I want to talk about now is a financial freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity now. And I'm not talking, unfortunately, I'm not talking to everyone, because this system that we're living under is oppressive. And there may be some of you listening right now that are very limited in finances. And I understand. I very much do. I've been there. I understand that it's very difficult to invest for the future when you're scrabbling for the present. You're scraping by on whatever resources that you have in the present. So to actively invest in opportunity to succeed in the future, not only do you need opportunity, but you need capital. You need something to invest. And I understand that. But I can, and I will upon request, give you some resources that you might be able to use to examine. I will push nothing. I sell nothing. All I would offer is information about opportunity to potentially become a gain for you, become a win, right? We all want those wins. I know I do. So in this time frame right now, we have opportunity. Why? Because the markets are low. You may not think that $60 an ounce silver is low. But ladies and gentlemen, as someone who has looked at these markets, someone who has listened to people who know a heck of a lot more than me, I can tell you that it is low. And I can tell you that if you were to grab yourself, if you were able to, grab yourself a piece of silver. If you have opportunity, maybe you even want to go with a piece of gold. If you have much at hand, a piece of real estate. But ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why I do this show is to illustrate that regular people are this close. We are this close to ultimately being free financially. I truly believe this. Call me a hopium addict. Call me the eternal optimist. Whatever it is that can encapsulate what you think my attitude is. But I can tell you for sure that I have reason to believe this is about to occur. I'm going to give you one example here in the world. I'm going to give you one example that is recent. I want to say it's 3 to 4 days old. No mas. That's it. 3 to 4 days old. Now, I don't have a visual, but I can tell you that I know this happened. And if you would like to look it up, that's great. You could do it while we're on the air right now. And by the way, that I am not seeing anyone in the chat. So we've gone about 14 minutes already, and I don't see anybody. So it might be the case that we do indeed have some difficulty on our technological end. Joe, can you check on an average or off my feed to see if you're seeing me? Because I know I'm seeing me on my own feeds, both Bitcoin Otter and Christopher Ott. YouTube, I'm not sure. So let's see, who do we have? Barry, we got you, Barry. Good to see you. We were just lamenting the dearth, if you will, of watchers right now, but you came on just in time. Thank you, Barry. We were extolling the power of God Almighty for a little bit. And Eric, good to see you. All right. So we're getting thumbs up out the wazoo now, and that's a technical anatomical term right there, the wazoo. So where I'm going with a lot of this is the opportunity thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not pushing anything on anyone, but I don't think I would be able to do my utmost in what it is that God has called me to, which is basically, and you may or may not be able to relate to this role, but I believe that God has called me to be a watcher on the wall. In biblical terms, that means that there's a dude, man. There's a guy who stands on the parapet, right? He stands on the edge of the castle, the city walls. And what he does day in and day out is he looks across the countryside, across the expanse upon which that wall is built, and even out into the wilderness, if you will. And that man is responsible, very, very much responsible for many things. Not all things, but he's responsible for things. And what I'm talking about is the responsibility inherent upon a watcher on the wall to warn the people behind him, to warn the people in the city, to warn the people underneath the wall, behind the wall, under protection, but perhaps an imminent attack may arise from without. And my job is this, if I am correct, and I believe I am, I have a calling. I see things that are coming forward, right? And I'm not, I know I can imagine some people, the Sixth Sense line, but not that. So what I see is this. I see that the enemy without and within, remember, when our founding documents were written, they were written to inspire us to defend our nation from enemies, foreign and domestic. If you've ever served in the armed forces, if you've ever served in law enforcement, then you know that we take an oath. And that oath includes defending our nation from enemies, foreign and domestic. But where I'm going now with this calling I have, and the description of it is, I have seen an imminent attack. In fact, it's been on for generations, probably millennia, probably since the beginning of the earth. But the manifestation of it in my time has been through a group of people that want nothing less than totalitarian control of the world. They call themselves globalists. They call themselves one worlders. They have, this new world order mess that they're selling us that is going to enslave us. They own the financial markets. They own the issuance of currency worldwide. It's called the Federal Reserve. That is not federal, it's private. So when I see this attack coming, and I have seen it for decades now, not because I'm so smart that I could see things that way, but because God basically blessed me with being able to tune in, to watch, to see people who came before me and you, and they cried out and warned us. The OG conspiracy theorist who wrote On a Pale Horse, right? William Cooper. Guys like that, okay? Guys like, I don't know if you guys remember Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, okay? It moved on to George North. And I took it away because it became commercial, is John B. Wells, who runs what's called now Caravan to Midnight. Spectacular show. Awesome. Well worth your while. That all being said, where I'm going with this is our opportunity, and I believe our victory is near, because I do believe that so many people in right places have woken up. And I'm really speaking about the U.S. military. I think that the U.S. military has taken a proactive role to this globalist, communist, satanic, Luciferian attack upon freedom. And they're winning greatly. The Patriots are winning. There are loose ends to mop up, of course, but I do believe that the counterinsurgency is going swimmingly. And one of those markers of victory was placed upon the White House this week. What are you talking about, Otter? The White House put up a sigil, a symbol, a placard, if you will, of a golden eagle. Now, I don't know that it's full gold. I don't know, but it's in the color gold. And this eagle is spread, and it's over, I believe, the portal, the front door of the White House. I'm not positive, but it's in some sort of doorway at the White House. What is that sign a sign of? What is the significance of this? Well, I didn't know this, but upon a little bit of research, we find that this particular symbol was placed over the doorway of homeowners that were veterans. And these veterans had finally gotten to the place where they got out from under the usurious, the predatory banks that had sold them mortgages. What is a mortgage? A mortgage, French mort, death, engage. An engagement with death is a mortgage. Okay? Some people die without ever having paid it off. Now, when they had completely paid off their mortgage and they owned their house, yes, and yes, this was before property taxes, most likely, where we really don't own a home, but I digress. So this eagle that is now on the White House, signifying financial freedom from debt. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know exactly what this means. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that tomorrow we'll all own our own homes, debt-free. I'm not saying that. Please don't misconstrue this. What I am saying is this, and nothing more than this. It is a sign, I believe, that not only are the residents of the White House, but the owners of the White House, you, me, Americans, right, can be assured that at some point, not only has this debt issue been addressed, but it's been won. That is me. Again, I am an eternal optimist. I do believe that we have good things a-coming. That's my opinion. That's my outlook on this. So as we go into this weekend, I believe we are the 2nd of July right now. We are Thursday. So Saturday is our demarcation of freedom, independence from those Brits. Now, this is a great time to learn these things of freedom, and freedom manifests in many different ways. I've spoken earlier in this show about spiritual freedom and where it comes from. The ultimate source of freedom is Jesus Christ. But that being said, we have a role to play here, because if we want to be free, we have to live free. We have to put effort into it. This effort can manifest in many ways, but speaking to others is the method I have chosen. Now, when I look on our palette here, and I see we have three viewers. I know Barry and Eric are out there. And since I know both of you personally, I know that you are patriots. I know that you have, or would, if you didn't, spill blood for this country. I put myself in for it. I do every day. I have not mentioned my career. I have not mentioned my occupation for good reason. Until I retire, I'll, say it on Facebook, but you guys know already. And the fact of the matter is, I submit myself for service daily, and I've done so for over 30 years now. So when I speak about this, it's not from a place of ignorance. The love of our country is being stoked. There are different things and different methods for different people. Many people can work on positive and negative reinforcement of their patriotism. I do work on both. I believe you guys do. The positive takes place in the fact that I'm proud to be an American, and not just because it's sung. I am proud to be having been born, and I believe God chooses these things. He chose to bring me to earth on this land, Texas specifically, and the United States as a nation. So where I'm going is this. We can look at the positive, that we are a free nation. It was born of godly intervention in our Revolutionary War. We can debate this if you'd like, but the fact is that we can be proud for good reasons to be an American. Then there are reasons that are very negative. Okay. And I want to go over one right now. Tim, you know this. I'm sorry, Tim. I was thinking of your brother. Eric, I was thinking of your brother, Tim. But Eric, because we live there. 4 with my beautiful wife. Thank you, Barry. And thank you, Mrs. Barry. Mrs. Songer. Thank you very much. I'm going over this because, yes, it's 4th of July, but it's also something near and dear to my heart, and I believe that yours as well. So my hometown I lived in a suburb. I grew up in a few different suburbs. but they were always around Buffalo, New York. And what occurred, I think it was yesterday, and I wish Jody was watching, and maybe he will tune in, because Jody lives in Buffalo and he is very vocal. He's gone to the town meetings. He's gone to the commissioner. He is an activist for freedom and for small government. And I appreciate Jody extremely. And he's also part of that group of people that come from, and I think he still lives in or near Buffalo. So what Buffalo did as a city, and I think I could say this with agreement from unfortunates that have seen this, maybe not unfortunates, but people have seen this unfortunate dynamic in Buffalo. Buffalo is ultimately a city that follows. They follow trends, they follow orders, okay? And they follow things that will bring individuals in politics profit. What they did was on the 4th of July, or prior now to the 4th of July, they canceled the fireworks. They have many different complaints about, oh, that venue couldn't be used, safety, this, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, they canceled a celebratory event for America. And what did they do? These, and I'm going to be sarcastic here, wonderful human beings in Buffalo government, they brought down the Stars and Stripes, ladies and gents. They brought them down. You know what they put up in front of the City Hall of Buffalo, New York? I think it was City Hall, but it was definitely in the city of Buffalo, New York. Eric visited Buffalo last weekend. Good. It's a great place to visit. Marcos, good to see you, brother. What did Buffalo do? Paul, good to see you. I might be stoking a little bit of negative patriotism, but all patriotism towards the United States in one way or another is going to be okay. And Paul, I think you've probably seen it by now, that the evil people that govern the city of Buffalo decided that it was going to be a good thing on 4th of July weekend to bring down the Stars and Stripes, our beloved banner that many men have died for, spilled blood for. And you know what they rose up in its place? The Somalian flag. They rose up the flag of Somalia in the city of Buffalo. Yeah. How many Somalians have died for Buffalo? How many Somalians have died for America? Now, we know of many who have killed American citizens. We know that. And probably something incoming. No, Eric, I'm sorry. It might have been Boston. You're right, but it was Buffalo. I know. Jody still lives there, and he told me about it. But there's some good news, and I don't normally think of theft as good news. But some patriotic person, individual, or group took that. I don't want to call it a piece of trash, because if it's in Somalia, well, then so be it. But it's in New York. It's in Buffalo. It's in the United States of America, and it should never, ever be flown as a replacement to our Old Glory banner, Stars and Stripes, the Betsy Ross special. Okay? So where I'm going with this is that our enemy has manifested in many different aspects, many different places. Okay? They seek to reign above you. REIGN. They will not. They will not. We will win. We patriots are on the job. We patriots. Eric says Buffalo is a crap hole. Yes, I know. But it wasn't always. Let me go into this a little bit now that you said that, Eric, and I agree with you, by the way, currently. There's a reason why Buffalo is in the position it's in, and this is my opinion. You can agree with it or not. If you look into the late 1800s and early 1900s, we were civilized well beyond where we are today. The evil pricks had to truly decimate our civilization to bring it down to the level it is today. What do I mean by that? There were things called fairs, and I do believe that this is also deception. I don't think it was just a fair, F-A-I-R. The World's Fair, the state, county fair, whatever it was. And We saw that in Chicago and in Buffalo, titans of industry was Buffalo, Chicago, other places, right? Cleveland. Why? Well, proximity to a waterway, one of them. The Niagara Falls, ladies and gentlemen. Kinetic power at the disposal of intelligent people. I don't know that there is anyone more intelligent than the man who lived there, named Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is on the record as having said, and I completely agree, that Einstein was an idiot. I can't say that because I can disprove his science, but Nikola Tesla did. Einstein, ladies and gentlemen, was a deep state ass clown. And I stand by that in every sense of the word. Just like that Neil deGrasse crappy guy is an ass clown for the deep state. The guy in the wheelchair who went to Epstein Island, he was an ass clown for the deep state. You see, they prop these people up so that we don't have the opportunity to explore the technologies, the burgeoning inventions of real smart people. Let's say Elon Musk. Maybe, maybe not. But where I'm going with this statement is this. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a sign of evil to see us, instead of from chaos, bringing order. It is from an order, a level of order, down to, and we are now in a state of entropy. But we will change that. We will flip that script. Matt says the entire Western New York sucks. Can't even drink a beer ball in Fredonia. Well, you were smuggling it into the dorms, Matt, in a hockey bag. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have precluded that, I might have charged you a toll at the door if I was the RA in the college dorm, but no college would accept me, and I didn't go. Well, unless there was a kegger. Then I went to college. Buffalo, says Paul. Paul says Buffalo was one of the main steel producers on the Great Lakes. Bethlehem Steel. Decades ago, the World Chess Championship was held there. Steel for automobile production was shipped across Lake Erie. Its current state is a disgrace, unfortunately. I agree 100%, Paul. And you know what? I remember my dad, and you may too, Paul. Remember your dad complaining about this as my dad did. My dad was an auto worker at Chevy. It changed companies, right? But he was an auto worker that fortunately was able to serve 30 years as an employee of GM. And now has a pension, thank God. But there was this bridge. There was this bridge that was called the Father Baker Bridge. I don't even know if it's still up. Paul, Eric, you might know. I don't know. But when they constructed the Father Baker, I think it was the Father Baker Bridge, with Bethlehem Steel right down the road. This was in the 70s, I believe. They chose to import steel from, I think, Russia or France. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm talking about when I say that the people that rule over Buffalo are evil. Because their bosses, their owners, their puppeteers are evil. Okay? And what they have done with that industrial powerhouse of a town was decimated. And they brought it to a place where, and we can all pick on Democrats if you want. I can pick on Republicans too. I'm neither of them. But it has been under Democrat rule for generations. And, well, we see what we see. The proof is in the pudding, or the rotten basic sewage that is Buffalo pudding. So I'm only using my hometown as an example. Corinne says the boys say hi. Hello, boys. How you doing, Johnny and Isaiah? So, love you guys. So when I'm going on about the threat, and I'm going on about patriotism and its negative inspirations, which there are many, there are positives. And we went over that a little bit. But one of the positives that I draw upon every day is that the victory of the enemy is far from complete. We might think, oh, all is lost. We might think, gee, they've got control of everything. But like I said, there are signs. Hey, Sue, good to see you. And Sue, I don't know if you have just arrived, but you may not have heard the symbol, the sign that I have chosen to use as inspiration for me today, other than the fact that I'm still alive and Jesus is still our king, is that in Buffalo, well, somebody took the Somalian flag down from City Hall or wherever it was thrown up in replacement of the Stars and Stripes. But the other thing is this, and this is what really makes me happy and smile. And I'm inspired because upon the mantle of the doorway, one of them in the White House, the People's House, is an eagle, gold in nature. I don't know if it's solid gold. I don't know if it's plated gold or just the color gold, that is put over the doorway to represent the fact that the house, the People's House, is now debt-free. How do I know this? Well, it was a tradition from, I want to say they were World War II vets. It might have been Korean War or World War I vets. I'm not sure. But these vets, when they paid off their mortgage, would put this eagle above their doorway to show everybody, hey, man, I paid my house off. Well, I don't know how this is going to manifest, and I don't know that it's going to happen tomorrow. I know it probably won't. But one of the things that enables me to see movements of the enemy and movements of friendlies, allies, if you will, is the ability to read symbols and signs. Language in and of itself doesn't have to be verbal. It's the most common, I would imagine. Maybe not. Maybe body language is even more so. But where I'm going with this is that we can derive inspiration from signs. And that's the one I'm deriving. That from whence I am deriving my current inspiration. Paul says, replacing the flag in China or Russia or Russia, or World War II Germany, those responsible would be arrested for treason, period. They should do an investigation and arrest those responsible and publicly try them as an example. Anything less enables the corruption to continue. I agree. Paul, I agree 100%. But I think you're going to agree with my next statement. They've thought about that. The enemy has thought about that. And they have preemptively acted. Where am I going with this? The tax money, the overburdening tax money stolen from the people of Buffalo, the people of New York, the people of the U.S., is shunted into many NGOs, non-governmental organizations. These non-governmental organizations actively work against us. I am telling you that I do believe that there wouldn't be prosecutors, and if there would be a prosecutor in Buffalo that would take this case up, I know that there would be a judge, a deep state judge, that might randomly or any other way be assigned the case. I don't have to reach too far to tell you about this Katanji woman, this Sparkle woman, this Boasberg clown, okay? And there's another guy that's blocking or attempting to block some of the other very patriotic legal maneuvers of one Donald J. Trump. Sullivan is his name. So even though his name is far from Katanji or Sparkle, he's still a deep state ass clown. And we will call him out on that as much as we need to. But yes, I do believe there's going to be a time for that, Paul. In fact, I think that time has already come. But the patriots, the counterinsurgents, have not let us know. And I'm mainly thinking right now about John McStain. Some people call him John McCain, but other people call him No Name because they don't want to even mention his name. He is was a third generation traitor to our nation. Crashed a few planes. When he was in Vietnam as a POW, he ratted out his fellow POWs. Yes, that was John McStain, who made his way into government because, well, he's crooked. Politicians are crooked. So I believe he was truly taken out, if you will. We're on Facebook here, so I can't say too much, but I believe that that is exactly what happened for many different reasons. Once, because it was also said, yes, in the halls of governance in Congress. His daughter said it once, I think, on The View. Okay, so I'm not doing this without any evidence, perhaps circumstantial, but I'm not saying this without any evidence. Treason is a federal crime, not state, but I know what you're saying. Yes. In fact, I would imagine that there are arguably more crooked federal judges than there are crooked state judges, but I don't know. I really have no basis for informing you on that. But I can say that our federal government is just polluted with evil, crooked, twisted, compromised judges and politicians and all that. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is about to change, in my opinion. In my opinion. If you want source material for the things I'm saying today, if you want to see the sauce, if you will, hit me up on Messenger or email, Bitcoin Otter at secure.com, SEKUR, that's one, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. But Messenger is probably the best. In fact, I want to mention this. I hope you're still on, Eric. But last week, when I was on about, whatever I was talking about, Eric Schrader popped up and says, I'm in Kentucky. I think you were in Kentucky. I'm in Kentucky, and I'm traveling around researching Bigfoot and other cryptids. And I was like, okay, Eric, that's okay. But I was also thinking about a friend of mine who likes to come on every now and again named Jaime. Jaime Sanchez comes on with gratuitous, meaning unnecessary, comments all the time just to kind of shake things up and get us moving. And I kind of thought that's what Eric was on. I think he just wanted to mix it up and throw something like that out there. No, I was wrong. I'm happily wrong. And I just want to mention this, Eric. Eric is not only really looking for Bigfoot, he's not only really looking for other cryptids, but he's got a van full of stuff that helps him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the real deal. We have the real deal. Eric is not pretending he's doing it. I think it's amazing. I gave him an open invite. So Eric investigates cryptid sightings. You have, again, Eric, I'm going to open it up for an open invite, as all of you have. Paul, Matt, Sue. If you have something that's near and dear to your heart and you really want to talk about it, man, let me know. We'll schedule something. It's an expensive hobby. Yeah. So Eric was kind enough to show me some of his stuff. Holy tamale, man. I'll tell you what, Ghostbusters have nothing on this group of guys. And I would imagine that was just your stuff. I would imagine the whole group has other stuff as well. But that was impressive, I must say, Eric. And these are the kind of people, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm so proud to help speak with, to help in any way. Shine the light on patriotism, shine the light on, our Lord and Savior, our King, the King of the world. And I know that Jesus is the King of the world, and I can't tell you that you have to take him as such, consider him as such, but I can just say that it's worked in my case. Definitely. Putting my life, both now and eternal, in his hands was the best thing I ever did. But the reason I can say these things is because, and I don't preclude anybody who doesn't agree with us coming on the show. In fact, I would debate anyone politely. I won't disrespect you, and I don't expect to be disrespected either. But anyone who wants to come and debate with me, I have no fear of it, because I don't say things that I can't back up. I don't say things that I can't, at least on some level, articulate the reasons for which I believe them. Right? So when I talk about earlier, as we were talking about opportunities, here's what I mean. Everybody knows the Bitcoin Otter deals with Bitcoin, right? Well, it's not just Bitcoin out there that is giving us opportunity. I already mentioned silver as well. It's $60 an ounce. If you buy silver at $60 an ounce, I truly believe that in a few years, somebody will look back at you in envy and say, you got silver at $60 an ounce. Just like if you buy Bitcoin at $59,000 or $60,000. I don't have that kind of money, but you get a little bit. You know what I mean? You buy $20, $100, whatever. If you tell someone in the future, 3 years, whatever, hey, I bought Bitcoin at 60 grand. Dude, you got Bitcoin at 60 grand. That's incredible. I got to pay 200,000 Bitcoin, whatever. I truly believe that. Can I guarantee it? No. But here's where I'm going for another thing I said. For those of us that don't have 60,000 to invest in Bitcoin, and perhaps we have $20, but we want to see a return. I believe we're going to be able to double. How do I believe this? Well, Bitcoin was already over double 60 grand. But I believe that in some time, soon, we're going to be able to put $20 on Bitcoin. And if we choose to sell, which I wouldn't, but if you choose to sell your investment of $20, I think you could do it for 40. I know you could do it for 40. You can get out of that investment for 40. But what I'm trying to say is I know of opportunities, no guarantees, and I am not a financial advisor. This says, Papa, because I'm a granddad and my grandkids got this for me. I'm not a financial advisor. I am, however, a grandfather. But where I'm going with this is I have some ideas of projects that are now selling their tokens, cryptocurrencies, for less than a cent. These are projects that have all-time highs. And let me use my favorite, T-Fuel, is on the Theta network. They deal in AI, decentralized AI, so you don't need data centers. I think it's 0.007, less than 1 cent. What is the all-time high of T-Fuel? 67 cents. Where am I going with all this? If you have $20 to invest and you invest in something like T-Fuel, and I can tell you how to stake it, I can inform you on to how to generate more T-Fuel if you so desire, without having to buy it with actually just the T-Fuel you have. Anyway, if you put $20 down on T-Fuel at less than 1 cent, not a math guy here, but if it goes anywhere near the 67 cents high, what do you think the multiplication, the return of investment is on that? And I'm not telling you that $20 is going to be your rent money. I would never, ever, using the rent money or the light money or the gas money to go for an investment. No, you got to survive. I have to survive. I don't do those things. But again, that's another reason why I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing I'm telling you is financial advice. I'm informing you of opportunity. I don't make a penny off of this. The Bitcoin Otter Private Membership Association receives 0.0 donations from me. Right? So where I'm going with this is, if you can get something for less than a cent, I think frozen. Okay, there we go. I think we're flowing again. If you can get something for less than 1 cent and you put your $20 or $100 down, if it re-emerges as a value set, I think it's valuable already, but let's just say as the pricing of it rises to even close to its all-time high, that's a lot of money, man. $20 67 times if it reached the all-time high again, for me, is a lot of money. Again, I think Bitcoin is probably more stable, but if it doubles, I don't think it has 67x in it right now. So I can inform you on these things if you're so willing to learn. I can tell you not only what is out there that you want for you, but will help you execute on those decisions, meaning implementing a strategy so that you, with your money, right, your own hardworking results, I will not advise you on how to spend it. But once you make a decision and you come to me and you say, hey, Otter, I want help to do this. I want help to do that. I want you to tell me, how can I get more T-Fuel for the T-Fuel I already have? I'm your guy. I'm your guy. I can help you. I'm willing to help you. I will not advise you on how to invest. because I'm not a financial advisor. I will provide information for you when you are either in the stage of making a decision or you have already made a decision and you want to go forward and you're not sure on how to do that. So when it comes to crypto, I can help you, but I won't advise you in what to buy. I won't advise you as to what you need to buy. You are the determiner of all of those things because I do not want to advise financial matters. So if you want to learn about this, that, or the other in crypto, I'm your guy. You want to learn about how you can take advantage of opportunities, I can throw you information. Because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there is much information out there and there is much opportunity out there. The people who have made a lot of money in this world, and a lot of them have done it crookedly, but that's not us. The people who have made a lot of money do it when other people are not watching, when other people are not in tune with the opportunities that are presented. I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be one of those. No, I'm sorry. I don't want to be one of those people that don't act that way because I have been for most of my life. Work for a wage, receive pay, go home and relax. Not a bad way to live. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that's the way I learned. Hard work brings you a living. You can support your family. But ladies and gents, I think a lot of you are experiencing this just like me. It ain't that way anymore. They steal from us in taxes. They steal from us in inflation. They steal from us in freedom with strict regulations. Then they rub it in our eyes. They rub it in our face, putting up the Somalian flag in my hometown. So when I talk about people who have taken advantage of opportunity when others weren't even looking, I think average guys and gals should be doing this. I know I'm trying. I haven't succeeded yet. I have to be completely transparent with you. I have not gained anything on crypto. I may, you know what? I'll take that back. I think I might have a few coins that as I throw out my wide net and what little money I have, I'm probably up on a couple coins, but overwhelmingly down. Overwhelmingly down. I have invested much more than I've ever seen a return on, and I haven't sold anything. That's transparency. I want to tell you that I'm not this huge winner on a yacht, boats and hoes. That's not me. That's not me. You know, sorry for the expression, but that just ain't me, man. So I can't say that I've gotten rich off of crypto. I hope to. I'll take my blue blocking glasses off for a minute and give you a wink. I sincerely hope to someday be rich based on the investments I'm making today, yesterday, and the day before. And I hope that for you, not because, being rich is this, that, or whatever, but it means that there are less worries in life. Not saying you're going to be free of all trouble. No. But I'll tell you what, if you know when the rent's due, you're going to be able to pay it. If you know when you're hungry, you can buy the food. Man, that's awesome. I want that for everybody. Corinne says, Auntie Sue and Papa. Sue says, where is the best place to research crypto projects? You know, they have online. Thank you for that question, Sue. They have online different webzines, if you will, different websites like Crypto News and YouTube, basically. Let me go to that. YouTube. Again, when I first started, this woman named Crypto Casey gave me top 10 things to know before investing in crypto. Man, that served me. It still serves me. Crypto Casey, top 10 things to do before buying crypto. YouTube has crazy amounts of people willing to teach you about their favorite products. Okay. Let me just give you one. It's called Theta Communications. This guy shares my sentiment on Theta, the crypto called Theta. It's got tons of use cases. Sue says, LOL, maybe hoe on a rowboat. Yeah, maybe. I do have a John boat in the back. I got a flat on my trailer, but I got a John boat on the back. Boats and hose. Anyway, yeah, YouTube is the place, Sue. And again, if you want to know exactly which ones, I guess I could say the ones I just said. I'll tell you, Keith D. Keith D is pretty good, man. Just this dude, average guy, walking around a park with a GoPro on the end of a stick or a phone on the end of the stick. But, man, the guy's solid. I can't remember. There's one. There's one that they have very, very highly tuned productions out there. A lot of times it's just an interview of a crypto guru like Michael Saylor. His big thing is Bitcoin. He doesn't buy anything else. You've got your XRP gurus, Cardano gurus, all kinds of different stuff. It's out there if you want to find it. If you have anything specific that you're wondering about, hit me up. I'll help you guys out. If it's not something that I've looked into, I'll look into it myself. And I'll give you one, my opinion, if you want it. Two, other methods of obtaining information. And again, I am never, ever shy about extolling the many, many reasons why I love Theta, T-Fuel, and decentralized AI, which is, of course, what I believe to be the future of AI, because these data centers are nuts. You know, they suck up the water of a community. They burn up the energy in a community. It's just no bueno at all. So if anybody's got anything left you want to throw out there, we can talk about it. If not, it's getting that time, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming into the closing of our show this Thursday. I want to thank everybody that watches. I want to thank everybody that's commented. Thank you for showing up. And I want to thank everybody that's watching after. And I know there's much more of you than those of us that participate live. And I know also that we had a limited participation because of its greatness, the great time we are having this weekend, celebrating the independence of the United States of America. And let us, in God's will and with God's favor, make America great again. You know, many things have been said about MAGA, whatever you want to call it. But it is simply this. We know, some of us know that America was great. We know that it's being lied about as to why it was great. But I have to do it again. Sir Francis de Tocqueville said that America is great because America is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. Well said, sir. And for a while, we did cease to be good. We were not nearly the city on a hill that we were. We didn't really spread freedom. We spread the opposite. But we're coming back, ladies and gentlemen, strong and patriotic. We will make America great again. We will allow that Liberty Bell to ring. And I think soon. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless America. Signing out, the Otter. Have a great day and a great weekend. Joe's rocking the theme there.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
On 97.7 FM, The City.